In honor of the late great David Bowie, who has brought to us some of the greatest music and, quite honestly, brought us the greatest band duo combination, the Queen song Under Pressure, and brought probably one of my favorites of his, Fascination. We're going to take a look at the movie that, of course, I saw today that just released a 30th anniversary edition, which, thankfully, around this time, will be out on Blu-ray sometime at this point. Labryinth. So, what are my thoughts on the movie? Labryinth. So Labryinth is the movie about a young girl who is just tired of his little brother, and she decides to get rid of him via some spell that she knows. And thus we enter the world of the Goblin King, played by David Bowie. And in that, David Bowie takes the little young baby away, and she's got to figure out a way how to get him back before he turns into a goblin himself. So first of all, what do I like about the movie? For its time, the effects that they pulled off in the movie was pretty good. And the almost late Jim Henson, I mean, I couldn't even call him late, he's like in his probably 20s or something when this movie came out, was, I mean, the puppets in this movie were so amazing and elaborate that, really, how could you even, do something like this even now? I mean, sure, there was, Muppets and Muppets Most Wanted, and even that, TV show, The Muppets, that just recently came out right now, but it's sad to, see, Jim Henson's work up here, and then have to, see that all of his work, of him passing away, be for nothing. But the puppetry work in this was pretty good, even if some of the stuff was a bit dated. You know which one I'm talking about. As for the musical numbers, it's the 80s, and this is that film that stays in that realm because, you know that fact, this was that certain time period where actually PG actually meant something. You know, PG, unlike PG today where it pretty much means pretty much G, this was back then where you actually needed a parent to actually see these types of movies. This is a movie that could actually scare the living daylights out of you. And through everything about it, there was, sequences and everything in it that were sometimes, really scary. And trust me, I rarely even see this movie. The only time I actually seen this movie once in high school, I think, was, it was, probably once in high school when I was sick, so, and I thought it was an alright movie, and my opinions on that is, well, depending on what it all depends on own personal perspective, alright? I mean, the effects are pretty dated for its, own time period that the movie came out, of course, because, well, as I've stated before, it was a film released in, the 80s or something, so by the time that this movie came out, this movie was practically one of those definitive movies that shows just how, insane that the movie was. Now, the musical sequences, pretty much, they're really easy to remember, but sometimes unless you're really, really careful and, not to get songs stuck in your head, they're really not that catchy. But one of the most memorable ones out of the bunch is Dance Magic Dance. And probably just about the final one in the movie where I forget it, but it's like where David Bowie's in that one painting while the stairs are here and there, and sometimes they're upside down or sideways or whatever. And there's this, and like in that sequence, I really love the effect where it's like he just goes walking upside down and just winds up like going upwards like that. Like, it still blows my mind to this day on how that effect was pulled off. And it actually makes me curious to actually see that behind-the-scenes featurette, or make me get the Blu-ray or whatever. Depending on personal taste, in my opinion, I mean, the characters in it are pretty good. Musical numbers, depending on your own taste, it's alright. And even David Bowie himself, who plays the Goblin King, I mean, bless his soul, he's a fascinating character in of himself, and he's got himself his own funny, moments, where he's like a Muppet one moment, and the next thing you know, he appears as his own self, just going, tra-la-la, or something like that. But definitely, if I have a favorite character out of this, I say it's Ludo or something. But depending on what your perspective is on the movie, it all depends if you want to see this or not. Then I say it's a best one, but be cautious. This is not a pretty G film. This is actually sit down with your children and hold them for the scary moments type of PG. Okay? Okay. I will say that Labryinth is worth buying on Blu-ray. I was going to go for something else, but after the passing of David Bowie, I just couldn't go any lower. It's something, I know, but it's just in honor of the late David Bowie. What else can you do? I mean, sure, some of the effects are dated, and a lot of this stuff here and there are a little bit odd now, and especially since in one of the scenes you can obviously see one of the boom mics show up or whatever. But it's in its own realm of existence. It is the one film where David Bowie actually felt fun for once, where he actually felt like himself. And I want to give respects to him for just how wonderful of a movie that this was. And this here, this one movie, because it's the only one I know that has David Bowie in it, is the only one that I know where I can pay respects to him. Sure, I can listen to his music like Under Pressure and Fascination, but I actually see him. I can actually pay respects to him. So, here's to you, Mr. Bowie. Here's to you. So, Labryinth. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? And what are your thoughts on David Bowie, especially after just the recent passing of him, especially after a few months ago, or at least I should say years, depending on what time you're seeing this video. Whatever your thoughts are, comment below and let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, well, click on the little, Ponyo seed down here, or the channel name, if you want to see more. And as always, I'm the Ferb Guy, and I'll see you guys for the next movie.